He's got a smile. He's got a smile. Is that nice? Is that nice? Give us a kiss. Give us a kiss. No? No, I know your daddy has that look on his face when I give him a kiss. So while little Coops is asleep, I thought I'd talk to you guys about the reality really of having a baby and how sometimes it's not all as wonderful as it seems. Don't get me wrong, it is wonderful and I wouldn't change having Cooper for the world, and I am so in love. Everyone always says the love you feel is just ridiculous and you can't explain it, and it's so true. But yeah, there are parts of it where you feel crap and you feel down and you feel like you're not doing a good job. I had one experience. I say Coops is asleep. He may well have just woken up. Let's see if he goes back down. Yeah, there was one experience for me where I think it was day 3. My milk had just come in, so 3 days after having him. My milk had just come in, and apparently your hormones do go a tad mental at that point. And yeah, so I was changing him with Danny, and we had a bit of a bicker. As you do when you are exhausted and emotional and learning. And I think I maybe told him, and I think I maybe told him a certain way to change the nappy. He didn't agree. And I sat there and cried whilst breastfeeding Cooper. So I was sat there breastfeeding, crying, and I thought to myself, have I made a mistake? I had this life with Danny, it was all lovely and happy, and we've brought a baby into the mix, and it's ruined everything. And that sounds awful, but I want to tell you guys, because the amount of people I've said that to and the amount of mummies I've said it to, and they've gone, oh my God, I felt exactly the same. And you feel so terrible for thinking it. And of course, the next day was a better day. My emotions had left me. They were more positive. And I was like, God, I can't believe I ever even had that thought in my mind. And I really beat myself up about it. But from talking to other people, you realise that these feelings are so normal. There's funny things that happen. For instance, I used to spoon. I'm the big spoon, so I used to cuddle Danny in bed, and because I'm completely deaf in one ear, the ear that would go down when I spoon Danny would mean I am deaf to the world, because it's my bad ear that's facing up off the pillow. So I had to change the way I was sleeping, so I had to not lie that way, so therefore me and Danny weren't spooning anymore in bed. So we'd go to bed not cuddling, and that for me, without me realising, was actually affecting me a little bit, because you lose that affection as a couple, and it's so easy to forget about each other. And we did say before Cooper arrived, he's wanting to be in this video, I think. He's making himself very, very known. Shh. Yeah, we said before Cooper arrived, we wanted to make sure that we didn't forget about each other. So we're making a conscious effort to try not to. Just something simple like giving each other a kiss or a cuddle. Maybe even giving, so I give Danny a kiss before I give Cooper a kiss, just to make Danny feel like, he's still my number one man. It's now shared, but don't tell him. Another thing that I found really helpful, and I suppose it's a bit of an ego boost really, but having other people telling you that you're doing a good job and you're doing okay and you're succeeding as a mummy is great. It makes you feel like, yeah, okay, someone believes in me and I am doing an okay job, because I think you forget to say that to mummies. And I've really tried now, having had it said to me, to make sure that I say, he just wants to be in this shot. Okay, silence. And it's made me realise that I must say to other mummies that are, new mummies, or mums that are, have three-year-olds, that they're doing a good job, because sometimes you just need to hear it, and it's just nice nice to give a compliment, really. So that's a lovely thing. So if you are a new mummy, tell people that it's nice to hear things like that. If you know a new mummy, tell her she's doing a good job, even if she's not doing a particularly great job and she's crying and the baby's crying and there's sick everywhere and there's poo everywhere. I mean, she's still keeping that little baby alive, so she's doing a good job. She's doing all right. So tell her. It's funny because being a mum, it gives you a new outlook on things. And one of the things it's given me a new outlook on is how blooming amazing my mum is and what a good job she's done bringing up two girls that stay out of trouble. We've never been in trouble, and we've both got, careers. We've both been to school. We've got, we're doing all right at life. To have a mum that's done all that and everything she does for me makes you appreciate so much more the lengths they've gone to for you for their entire lives. And I have told my mum this, actually. I've said to her, I've got a newfound respect for you. Obviously, I've always respected my mum and she's amazing. But there's something that's just made me feel like she's just that little bit more amazing now. Now I know how much work goes into keeping a little person alive. It is not simple and it's not a walk in the park. So do remember that before you start trying for a baby. I sound like a really old person now, don't I? Lecturing, but yeah, cheers mum if you're watching this. I love you. I'll cry. My hormones are all over the place. Shortly after I had Cooper, Danny had to go back to work, which was pretty traumatic for me, to say the least, because I had this new little person in my life. I still didn't know really what I was doing. I still wasn't confident even at changing a nappy on my own, or dressing him on my own, to basically doing anything on my own with him. And it went from that to me being on my own with Cooper and Danny being at work. And it was tough and it was daunting. And what was quite strange for me was that I'd gone from being this completely independent woman that goes out all the time, travels on the tube, drives 4 hours back up north by herself. I would like to say I'm fairly confident, with life, to feeling completely insecure, incredibly anxious and nervous about leaving the house, which for me was just like, who am I? What's happened to me? I'm like this little scared mouse. And it wasn't me and it wasn't who I was, and that was quite lonely. And that was a struggle for me because that's not who I am. So I really had to have a word with myself, and it was very much a case of mind over matter and talking about it. So, I said to my mum, I'm scared to leave the house. And I said to my friends who have babies, how did you do it? You've got to not be afraid to ask people how they do it or what they think, or even just talk about it, even if it's not someone that's had a baby. Just talk about it. I said the word baby and he made a noise. It's like he knows. Maybe he's going to be a child prodigy. But yeah, it's just so important to talk. And then you get advice from people and it makes you feel better almost without you even realising it. So mum said, well, just walk to the coffee shop and, that's all you need to do. If that's all you do in a day, then that's fine. And then I actually said to my sister, what do I do if he starts crying and I'm walking with him in the pushchair and you're not meant to leave a baby crying? So what do I do? And my sister was like, well, it's fine. You just stop, you find a bench and you feed him. And I was like, oh, well, that sounds really simple when you put it like that. Or you find a local cafe, or you find just anywhere. And when she put it into perspective and just explained it like that, I was like, gosh, that sounds so simple. But in my mind, I'd built it up to be this huge, massive trip out. And we were going to be gone for 7 hours. And what was I possibly going to do if he cried? So it's so much about getting over those feelings. And once you do it, trust me, once you do it, it's not always easy the first few times. And you might feel like you've got it and like you're succeeding at going out, and then something will happen like a punami, or your baby will cry for the entire trip out. And you'll think, oh God, I know I'm failing, this isn't working. But it's just persistence. Persistence is key. And I've been learning that a lot with everything baby related, bottle feeding, breastfeeding, changing nappies. You learn as you go. And yeah, and you've got to just remember that. Remember it. There is something that makes you power through, and you just do it. Apparently, whether or not this is true, someone told me that there's a hormone that's released in your body that sends you into the deepest stage of sleep quicker. And so you don't have all that, the early stages of sleep where you're not sound asleep. So I think that's why women can maybe cope a little bit better with the sleepless nights, because Danny's not coping so well, and he's getting a heck of a lot more sleep than me, that's for sure. So yeah, it's hard. You're tired, you're emotional, you're probably arguing with your other half. And for me, I don't really argue with Danny all that much. When we have an argument, it is a humongous one, and it's maybe every 3 months or something. But yeah, we don't really bicker at all. And now we do. But I suppose it'll just all slowly work itself out, fingers crossed. And what you've ultimately got to remember is your life has completely changed. Everything is different. You don't know what you're doing. You're sleep deprived, etc., etc. So as long as you remember that as a couple, so you keep talking, you keep vocal about, it's not you, it's the tiredness or whatever, then I think it will make everything that little bit better. And, you won't then bear a grudge because he's changed a nappy a certain way, or he hasn't done a nappy change, which is you, Danny Jones. So you've just got to learn to accept that you are going to probably bicker, and just get on with it. Just put it in a box, have an argument, put it in a box, and then throw that box away, and then you're done. So I hope I've touched on a lot of things that people feel. They're personally things that I've been dealing with, and I hope if I help one of you guys, then that would be amazing. I know I would love to have people telling me all this stuff. Like when I was pregnant, it would have been great to have heard all this stuff, because you do feel like you're different to everyone, and you don't know whether this is right, what you're feeling, whether it's okay to feel down, and whether it's okay to, when you've had a child and it should be the happiest moment of your life, to feel fed up and like you've made a mistake. And it's okay, and people need to be more vocal about this. So I hope I've helped you guys, and please do let me know if you have any questions or anything you'd like to know, whether I felt that way or whether I know people that have felt that way. It's good to talk. And also, you guys all talk on the comments below. Have a chat. It's like a new mum's net, I feel. You can all talk on my feed, and I will answer questions as well if you have anything. But yes, thank you for watching.